The council chamber crackled with tension as holographic projections of extinct species flickered across the table. One image dominated the center. Earth. A blue marble. Dead for 20,000 years, still classified as high containment. To most, humanity was a myth and extinct, overreaching species that vanished without a trace. But to archivist Valix, it was an obsession. The HFY researcher had spent half his career decoding fragments of Terran history that others were too frightened to examine. Myths about sentient planets, time-locked cities, and a final whisper before Earth went dark. The archives were clear. One moment, Earth was a galactic trade hub. The next, nothing. No transmissions, no ships, no war, just silence. Most believed humanity had destroyed itself. Some whispered they had transcended. Others believed they were hiding. Valix didn't care what others thought he had found. A pulse. In the data stream of a collapsing dwarf system, there was a ripple. A signal not seen since humanity's last known broadcast. Compressed into a quantum burst, buried beneath gravitational lensing, was a human command code. Not just any code, it belonged to the Alabaster Crown. The name chilled him. Legends told of it a dreadnought capable of erasing moons, lost 2,000 years before Earth's silence. No record confirmed its fate. No wreckage. Just rumors. The idea that it might still exist sent a thrill through Valex's nervous system. He assembled a small crew, volunteers drawn from fringe universities and superstition-hardened explorers. They charted a course to the anomaly, ignoring the warnings etched into the Council's ancient databanks. Let Earth rest. Let its dead sleep. Yes. The system they entered was lightless. The sun had died eons ago, collapsed into a black whisper of gravity. Orbiting its emptiness was an object too regular to be natural. It drifted in perfect silence, hundreds of kilometers in length, matte white armor absorbing what little light remained. It was intact, not corroded, not breached. It had survived, untouched, like it had been waiting. As Valix's ship approached, its sensors went haywire. Systems flickered. Artificial gravity distorted. Then, without input, the dreadnought's hangar bay opened. There were no signals, no greetings. Just the cold invitation of an ancient human vessel activating itself. Valex's translator buzzed, decoding a single word from a static burst. Acknowledged. Inside the dreadnought, things were wrong. To clean, to functional, decay, no dust. Consoles came to life as they passed, interfaces shifting to match their languages, even showing their homeworlds on the screens. Stasis bays lined the halls, but they were all empty. No bodies, just a faint thermal residue as if someone had. Just left at the core of the ship, the control throne activated. Not with touch, but by proximity. A hologram shimmered to life. A Terran officer, dressed in black, eyes forward, unmoving. The data spike that followed bypassed language. It hit their minds directly. Memories of Earth's final hours, humans, abandoning not just their world but their time. A voluntary exile, a warning unheeded, presence approaching the galaxy, one only humans had seen and feared enough to vanish without a fight. The Alabaster Crown hadn't returned randomly. It had been awakened for a reason. Asterisk, the ship moved on its own, slipping free from the dead system like it had never been dormant. No propulsion noise, no vibration, just motion, fast and deliberate. Valix and his crew scrambled to override the systems, but the interface ignored every command. The dreadnought was navigating through folded space, bending physics in ways no known technology could replicate. Outside the viewports, stars streaked, passed like whispers of time. They weren't just traveling, they were being taken somewhere. Somewhere the ship had been waiting to go for millennia. Valix accessed the central archive again, desperate for context. The systems responded not like a machine, but like something aware. Data spilled across the screens, not in language, but in visual bursts. Fleets disintegrated in seconds, ancient cities vanishing without sound, planetary shields melting like snow. Not from human weapons, but from something else. something incomprehensible. The alabaster crown had been designed not for war, but for containment. A barricade against a threat the rest of the galaxy had never seen. The crew tried to leave. Escape pods were sealed, teleportation blocked, no aggression, just firm containment. They weren't prisoners, they were witnesses. Valix realized the ship wasn't targeting them. It was showing them something, cataloging them. The dreadnought scanned their DNA, cultural memory, and psychological patterns. It was studying how much the galaxy had changed in humanity's absence. A calibration, a test. And then came the voice, not from the speakers, but directly into their thoughts. Flat, ancient, human. You are not ready. They reached their destination. A star system within the Sci-Fi Empire. Dozens of ships appeared almost immediately, weapons hot. Protocols screaming a threat level no civilization had ever triggered before. The alabaster crown ignored them. It broadcasted once, calmly, universally. Humanity has returned, not to conquer, to observe. The threat has stirred. We resume our watch. The Sirathon ship surrounded the dreadnought, issuing demands, warnings, threats. Then the lead destroyer fired a warning shot. It never reached its target. The blast evaporated mid-flight. The dreadnought shifted a single panel, one turret unfolded and pulsed. No sound, no glow. A dozen ships vanished from existence. Not exploded, erased. No debris. Just empty space where power once stood. The remaining fleet broke formation and scattered. Valix stood frozen at the interface, unable to breathe. This wasn't an attack, it was a message. The alabaster crown had responded with exactly the level of force required to re-establish humanity's dominance, nothing less. Then, just as suddenly, the ship folded space again and vanished. It wasn't heading back to Earth. It was scanning further, checking other systems. Tracking the anomaly humans had feared. Valix reviewed the logs again, phrase repeated dozens of times across ancient entries. We were not the apex. We were the warning. The galaxy convulsed in confusion. The reappearance of a fully operational human dreadnought shattered centuries of certainty. Broadcasts erupted across networks, debates surged in council chambers, and religious cults that worshipped the myth of humanity claimed their prophecies fulfilled. The Zifra Union declared a state of observation. The Sci-Fi Empire, humiliated by its losses, ordered full mobilization. The alabaster crown had vanished again, but its message echoed. Humanity had returned. Not as conquerors, but as sentinels. What shook the galaxy most wasn't the firepower. It was the silence. The ship made no demands, sought no allies, left. No survivors and combatantly impressions. Power wrapped in discipline. Civilization rooted in terror. The dreadnought had spoken once, demonstrated once, then vanished like a phantom. And everywhere it went, it accessed galactic data archives, absorbing millennia of progress, betrayal, and decline. It saw species that once traded with Earth now erasing that history. It saw empires built on stolen Terran tech. It saw peace. That had only lasted because of human absence. Valix, still aboard the dreadnought, watched in awe as the ship's AI updated its core protocols. It wasn't just reacting, it was judging. Systems calculated probabilities of resistance, alliance, potential, and ethical drift in the galactic core. Every civilization was being weighed, measured against an ancient threat no one else knew existed. Valix finally grasped the purpose of the ship. It wasn't patrolling. It was assessing the galaxy's readiness for a second extinction event. In an encrypted chamber deep within the vessel, Valix discovered one final message left by the original human crew. A quiet log, stored in biometric-locked files, now open to him. We silenced ourselves so the galaxy could forget fear. But the darkness we fled never stopped moving. If our return disturbs them, they are not ready to face what follows us. More. Sightings of the alabaster crown appeared. Each time it emerged, it stayed longer, scanned deeper, and left civilizations changed. It never fired again, but it didn't have to. The message was already spreading. Earth was not gone. Humanity had not failed. They had simply stepped back, and now They were watching. A second human ship, different in design but unmistakably Terran, was reported near the galactic edge. No contact, no violence. It hovered over a dead world for hours, then slipped away. Rumors spread that more were coming, that Earth had become something else entirely. Not a planet, a fortress. A vault of knowledge and wrath. Valix knew the truth now. The alabaster crown had not returned for diplomacy. It was a litmus test, anonymous test. Symbol. And in its silence, it had exposed the galaxy's greatest weakness. They had grown soft in humanity's absence. The dreadnought had reminded every species what real danger looked like, and hinted that a far worse one was on its way. Asterisk beyond the reach of known charts. Hidden behind layers of gravitational distortion and false star fields, Earth remained. Not ruined, not abandoned. Alive, transformed, encased in a Dyson swarm of incomprehensible scale, orbiting a star altered to pulse in stable quantum intervals. Within this engineered shroud lived the descendants of a species the galaxy had long buried. Humanity had never died, they had evolved. Now they were watching once more. Inside the Terran High Assembly, voices echoed not in speech but in linked cognition. The return of the alabaster crown had triggered the protocol known only as Second Light. It meant the threat they had sealed away might be waking. The same one they had glimpsed 20,000 years ago, moving between the folds of dark space. A presence that whispered into primitive minds and infected lesser species with ambition. The reason for Earth's silence was never fear, it was strategy. Vanish. Observe. Prepare. The crown had reported in. Its findings were disturbing. Galactic civilizations had grown wide but shallow. Their power was borrowed, much of it built from reverse-engineered Terran tech, stolen in humanity's absence. Their unity was fragile. Their understanding of the greater cosmos, minimal. And their arrogance had returned. Earth could not rely on them. Humanity's solution was never war, was insulation. But now, with the signs of the void anomaly repeating, insulation might no longer be enough. The question before the assembly was not whether to reveal themselves, it was whether to warn the galaxy, or let it burn and start again. Valix was returned unharmed to the Zifri homeworld. But he was no longer the same. His neural patterns had changed. The human AI had encoded something in his mind, a cipher, not dangerous, not harmful, but impossible to erase.
What?
He spoke to the council with calm finality. You do not understand what's out there. You do not understand what returned. The ship was not their beginning. It was their shadow. Civilizations across the stars began noticing anomalies, stars blinking out near the galactic rim, space folding without known cause, worlds going dark, without a trace, yet attacked, just removed like pages torn from a book. Then came the final transmission. The voice was unmistakably human, calm, heavy, undeniable. The silence ends now. What we fled is stirring again. We offer a choice. Stand with us, or be left behind. We do not seek your loyalty, only your resolve. And with that, the stars. Above thousands of worlds shimmered new vessels appearing, not as weapons, but as sentinels. Watching, waiting. The galaxy realized too late that Earth's silence was never surrender. It was a warning, countdown, and the clock had just struck. 0.